Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We talk about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. As usual, I have our resident professional engineer, Mike Herzog, with us. And we also have a special guest today, Laurent Frugier. And he is the co-founder of fuel2electric.com. How's it going, Laurent?
It's going well. Thank you for the invitation. We're really
Oh,
happy we can talk today.
yeah, no, this is going to be very interesting because it's not something we've ever covered on the show. And we've been doing this show now for about 10 months. Okay. And we're pretty religious about getting our episodes in each week. We do anywhere from 3 to 5 live episodes a week. And we have different topics. Mike and I often we like to talk technology when I have the engineer on here. When we have Bill, the founder of EV World, on here, we tend to just talk general news. And
Yeah,
so
this
this
is
is
fun. Yeah, this is
yeah.
going to be a good one that we have not a topic we don't see. Normally we're latest car developments, some trends, what's happening, grid perspectives and everything, but getting down into the details of how people can actually pull this off themselves. I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah, so this will be quite interesting. So tell me a little bit about just an overview. Fuel to electric. It sounds like we're doing a transition. We're doing some kind of EV transition. Tell us what that's all about.
Exactly. So Fuel to Electric is a web platform, and it works exactly like Airbnb. What we do is we connect people that have a classic car or a fleet, utility fleets. And because they're interested in switching to electric, it's either they buy a brand new car. For a classic car, it means that you keep the classic car in the garage and you buy a new Tesla, let's say. What we offer is the largest network of EV conversion professionals. So you come to us, we discuss your projects, and we design with you. We try to stay agnostic most of the time. We want to understand what condition is your car. We want to understand all the requirements for the conversion and your expectations, obviously, finally the budget. And when we feel like your project is realistic, which takes a lot of knowledge, then we can advertise your project to vendors, and in return you receive a quote or multiple quotes, depending on the interest they have on your project, your car. If you have a really good classic car, pristine Porsche, 68 or whatever, they're gonna love it, so you're gonna receive a lot of quotes.
Nice. So what caused you to get into this? What is the history behind this?
So I'm an IT guy, but I used to work in the electricity, many companies actually in Africa, in France. I studied in France. I'm French, obviously. And I spent some time working on smart grids. And at that time, we discussed a lot. It was in 2008. And we were thinking of how do we integrate the electric vehicles. I was like, that's interesting. If we talk about it, it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, what's going to happen to all those old cars and classic cars? Because at some point, there's going to be only charging stations. There's not going to be parking for regular cars anymore. I was like, okay. And 10 years after, my brother moved to the US. I followed him. We got more and more, we spent more and more time with the third co-founder, which is John Wilson, and he specialized in converting vans. Well, he used to have different shops in converting vans for mobility business, mobility van and accessibility. So he would transform a van for handicapped people. We talked a lot about it. I was like, okay, let's do one. Let's try to convert a 66 Mustang. We bought it. And from there, we understood all the complexity of what EV conversion means, but also the complexity of the process. From the moment you start, you have the idea, until the moment you hit the road. It's not only technical. There's a lot of, I need information, I need to find experts to talk about the different aspects of the conversion. And as an IT guy, so I'm going full circle here, I realized there was an opportunity of bringing the experts, the shops, the parts, the EV enthusiasts, everybody in one platform. So we could help them connect and help anyone who has the idea to go through the process and drive an electric classic car.
Well, I
That's
think
the,
you know,
that's the whole story, and that's the purpose of the platform as well.
so there's a lot of classic cars, or a lot of cars, as an example, like a Porsche 911. They they always have value, right? So the older a Porsche 911 is, they're almost all worth more than what somebody originally paid for them if they're not completely trashed. I mean, an effective one to switch, right? So most of the stuff that you're seeing currently is more classic cars, I'm assuming.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, there is a comment here. I love Ford Bronco. Yes, we can do that. Actually, if you go on our website, you'll see there is a video of one. We have few partners that do Broncos.
Oh, nice.
So you can convert any car. What we see is we call them the breeds of EV conversion. We have three main breeds: the DIYers, and they would convert anything from a tractor to whatever you find, a military van or whatever. The heavier, the funnier. There is the classic car owners, or people that have a collection, or sometimes people that, you get your dad's car or your granddad's car, but it's a hassle. I'm not a mechanic. If I have a classic car, I just want to drive it, just want to enjoy it. I just want, when you park it and you look at it and you like it and you drive it, you have good time with it. And that's the second breed of people. They don't want to be involved in the process of the conversion. So they want to ship it to someone and convert it. The third category is resto-modes, shops that want to switch from gas powered car to electric. So they contact us and they want to know more about what kits are available, what technology they can use for a specific car or for a large number of cars. And the fourth breed is quite new. It's we have some contacts with universities, but also cities for fleets, utility fleets. That would be for trucks that are that not necessarily exist in the electric version yet. So the best idea would be to convert it, especially when you know that it's way cheaper to do it than to replace a full fleet with brand new trucks. So we have four breeds of customers now.
So that's
Nice.
that's really interesting to me, because that fourth category, I would have guessed this is kind of a novelty market, where it like the classic cars, you've gone back to it a bunch. It seems like that's the perfect application where I can't replace the body of this vehicle with something new. Like this has its place in history, and I want to update it to the 21st century. But the idea that this is economically effective for a city or a fleet operator or somebody to walk through, and this is opening up, like that's really surprising to me. So it sounds like your network, there's quite a few people out here that are able to do this work. And is that like a full business for people, or more of a side project, or hey, we're mechanics and we're also able to do this, or have people actually built businesses on all we do is make these conversions to electric vehicles?
No, we have so in our network of 80 vendors, we have shops. We have shops that are specialized in EV conversion, with track record, with insurances. They do respect standards in high voltage. We make sure that they are professionals, they have experience, and they do specialize in EV conversion. So it helps us to bring this. So let's rewind a bit. at SEMA last year, we noticed that a lot of shops would come to us and say, you know what, customers are asking for EV conversion, but we don't know how to take the leap. How do we do this? So it's always the same story. You take one, you try to do it by yourself. We can connect you with experts. And once you've done it, you can be included in the network. So we're going to send you more customers. Mm-hmm. They really feel, those shop owners, they really feel like the train is leaving the station. EV conversion is the next LS swap somehow. And they want to be part of it. And it's becoming it's going to be one of the biggest aftermarket change in the next 10 years. Aftermarket for classic car will be EV conversion. That's for sure.
Well, you were talking about some of that with the fleet vehicles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I look at, in certain spaces, people that drive pickup trucks, in some cases, will drop 3 or 4 different engines in them over the court before they finally, unless it's been totaled out in an accident. And even then, they'll try to get the frame bent back into shape. I mean, some people just love their old pickup truck. And you'll see those old trucks, driving around with a different bed, or, where they haven't matched the color back up yet or whatever. But I've known people who will drive a Chevy pickup 500,000 miles, but it's had 3 engines in it, and it would make sense for those people to do the conversion.
We love that. We love what we want with EV conversion is not to replace all the gas engines. What we want is to see those classic cars on the road. We don't want them in the museums. We don't want them in the garages. What we really want is to keep the legacy alive. We want to see people having fun with them, and that's the whole point. There's going to be people like swapping gas engines forever, and they love it. And this is what they do. This is what they like, and we're not against them. We love them. We embrace the passion. EV conversion is just another way to do it, and it's fine with us. What we see is that these people are in the first category of our customers. They are DIYers most of the time. We've been contacted by someone recently. He just redid a Mustang. I don't remember the year, but it's a 500 horsepower Mustang. And he told us it's too noisy. So it makes too much noise. My wife doesn't want to drive it, so I need to find a way. Can you convert it? I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, let's do it. But he spent already a ton of money in the restoration of it. So now it's pristine and it's perfect for EV conversion. The better it is, the easiest it is to convert. But now we need to replace the engine, remove the transmission, and so on.
I remember one of my kids, he had a 270 horsepower Toyota Camry, which they made a model with the upgraded engine for a while, and he found this one Mustang, one of the local Ford dealers, that had been augmented and had about 500. It was told about 550 horsepower, and I went and test drove it. Yeah, but it was so loud. I'm like, son, you're never ever going to have a conversation with anybody when this engine is turned on. You can't even in the cabin. You couldn't even have a conversation. It was so loud.
And
that is one of the things. Well, I was going to say, one of the things that people don't appreciate is how much quieter electric cars are. It's cool to hear a 500 horsepower or an 800 horsepower engine roaring when you go to Formula One or like a Daytona 500. That roar of the engine is exciting. there's a lot to that thunder noise.
Definitely.
But on the flip side, in daily life, man, I don't need, nobody likes it when their neighbor has a car like that and they're out running it at 5 in the morning, or they're coming home at 2 in the morning and they're running their vehicle that loud. And it's noise pollution is a real thing, and this is something people don't even think about when they think about much about electric cars, is just how much quieter I'm betting California's gotten, with such a high percentage of the cars, or like Norway, someplace where they've had super high adoption. Just the difference in the noise levels in the towns from not having everything in cars. Never mind the smog and everything else. But it's a crazy thing. What were you going to say, Laurent?
Yeah, I was. Your story is about a father to a son.
Yes.
We got another customer that contacted us because his son doesn't want, because they have also a Tesla, and his son doesn't want to go to the Defender anymore because it smells and it's loud. So now he wants to convert it because the kids they don't want to ride with it, and it's so it's funny. It's coming from all generation. It's not a generational thing actually. We see a lot of all the categories of people, women as well. Women they've been excluded from the classic car fun because it's not, most of the classic cars, they're not reliable. And,
right.
And what we really need from the car is reliability. And when you convert it to electric, then you have a nice car you can drive and it's reliable. So it's best of both worlds. This is what we say.
That's great. So can I ask you some logistical questions about conversion, and how it works, and kind of run through some of that list? And I know I'm not going to pin you down, and every case is going to be unique and different, depending on what you're going into. But if I was going to enter into a project like this, let's say any vehicle or how we might look for it, what are some of the just high level bucketed considerations of timing? Logistics, how long does something like this take? What's a reasonable cost expectation? And granted, classic cars mean, classic dollars when you're going and everything like that with getting original parts and however you want to do it. But just ballpark costs, and then as kind of that finished product, what kind of, mileage and range are we talking? And, just kind of that functional element of it. And then I'm going to ask you a little bit more if you get into those types of conversions, is it just the drivetrain, or are you also updating electronic features within there, displays and controls, power locks, power wind, those type of add-ons as you go through too. So I know that was a whole lot. So if you want to take one at a time, or hey, I want to look, but it's really just around what can I expect from a logistics standpoint of how a conversion like this might work?
So you're not asking, but we made a top 10 EV conversion car on the website. I don't know if Dave can show it at the same time, so we can see some nice pictures. It's in the inside.
Is that a DeLorean?
If you go, yeah. That's a DeLorean made by Ampere EV that developed a system that you can use in many cars. This one is a Porsche. It's a display. To answer one of your questions, you need to replace the displays. This is an AC Cobra, brand new resto mode made by Scorpion EV. This is a Porsche with a Tesla motor made by EV West, one of the leader. They are also a member of Fuel to Electric. This one is very nice. There are very nice gauges from Speed Hut. This one is, well, there is plenty, and finally the DeLorean made by Ampere EV.
What's the 0 to 88 speed?
I don't know, but where we go, there's no road. You can, if you go in the more. In menu more and insight, it's the first first item, insights. You'll find this. I think it's the top 10. So we have a lot of free resources here, so there's a lot to read. If you scroll down, you're going to find our top 10 favorite. To answer your question, timing. Some of the shops really are busy. So when they submit a quote to you, depending on their waiting list, the car will spend 3 to 6 months in their shop.
Okay.
That's for timing, which is yeah. The difference will be if the car needs upgrades. So if you're replacing a V6 by a Tesla powertrain, you're going to upgrade a lot of stuff like brakes, suspension, and so on, because you're just like in any other swap, you're bringing much more power to the car, to the vehicle, so you need to reinforce a lot of the safety elements in the car. That's for timing. Cost, we also have an article about cost. We usually say it starts at $26,000. This is what we see for parts. And then you take it to a shop and you basically double the price. Now, this is for a setup that would give you 120 horsepower. For a car under 3,000 pounds, it's going to give you 115 miles. That's a good example. The VW bus here, it's a really cool car. Air-cooled cars are the best for EV conversion. It's way easier to convert.
What is easier to convert? What vehicle is easiest to convert?
Air-cooled engines, air-cooled cars.
Air-cooled.
So it would be Beetles, Vans, Porsches. Those guys are super easy, super light. They have good bones. It feels like they're made to be converted somehow. So that's for the cost. Obviously, the more range you add, the more power you add, the more, if you want fast charging, it's going to be a bit more expensive. If you have AC or power steering, you need to replace all the systems, so you get the compressor, high voltage compressor, and so on. So options will give you, let's say, it's going to be more expensive. The more options you have, the more power you have, the more range you have, it's going to be more and more expensive. So we usually say between 26 and 80,000 and over. It never ends. And that's our quick answer. For range, again, starting at 100 miles, this is usually the minimum. If you have a really heavy car and a small motor, it's going to be less, obviously, but 100 miles is usually where we start in terms of range. And going over 250 miles is complicated because you need to fit all those batteries in a chassis that has not been made to be, to install those batteries, you need room, basically. So you can put it on the floor or in the trunk or in the frunk. If you remove the transmission, you have the full engine bay that you can use. But there is a really important, this is the page, there is a really important thing is the weight distribution. If you put all the batteries on the front, it's gonna be painless. It's gonna be painful, not painless, painful to drive. Now there are many other solutions like skateboards. So it's electrified, basically a chassis full of batteries. So it gives you the best weight distribution, and it's a system that is integrated, motors on each axle, or at least one axle, and batteries on the floor. So it's very easy to swap, and it's better to drive. Essentially, it's more expensive, but the installation is easier. So in the end, it's a very good solution. There are many ways you can convert your car.
No, that's really helpful. I mean, that's kind of the spec sheet, high level nuts and bolts. I mean, that's a good overview just to give people kind of a grounding on what to expect and how these things work. Because you answered some of the questions I was going to follow up with. Some of those, like, where the heck do you put batteries? And it sounds like, that's the challenge. I mean, that's one of the major challenges of just physical space and then weight distribution. It's getting it in there.
Battery is probably the most important component in an EV conversion. It's not the motor, definitely not. There are plenty different motors, and now with Tesla motors, it's like you can find motors everywhere. They are available. They are safe. They are bulletproof. You can buy also brand new motors. We have partners like Stealth EV or Hypercraft. They have developed perfect motors for EV conversion. They work with the military. They work in also marine nautique industry, and you're gonna have the choice for the motor. The battery is it's trickier because you need the right numbers to have the right mile range, and also you need the battery to fit in a place where it's not going to disturb the driving sensations, and also the room. You want to keep your trunk, you want to keep your seats, you don't want to remove seats to put batteries. Some people used to do it in the past, but now the batteries are getting better. So yeah, it's battery is definitely it's the subject, one of the components that takes the most time to think about. Where am I going to do it? And we use more and more 3D scans, so we can design cars and placement of the battery without touching it, just with simulation, and it's way easier.
Have you guys seen like a Maserati or Ferrari conversion?
We have two. We have one Ferrari 308 GTS in the pipe. It's one of our customer. Now we couldn't find someone to do it, and we also have Maserati. Which Maserati it is? I don't.
Well, the Ghibli has the Ferrari engine in it.
But yeah, it's the Ferrari.
So
the
that
Ghibli,
Ferrari 308, that's the Magnum PI car. That's the car they used in the Magnum PI TV show.
Yeah.
The 308
exactly.
GTSI. Yeah. No, I was just thinking about that because Maseratis, they depreciate faster than any other car out there, and you can have one go down by about 80% in value in about 5 years. It's just, when that engine goes, that would be the thing. It's put an electric motor in there, and I'm just curious if they were supportive of that.
Yeah, so
we
have this 2000 and we have a 2004 Maserati Spider on the website.
So it's convertible.
And this customer, definitely everything is convertible. Obviously, the less electronic you have on board, the easiest it is. Like, for instance, airbags, you cannot test them. So it's you need to find the right people that have the experience with airbags to work on these cars. So the less electronic you have, the better it is. But any car can be converted to electric.
All right. Do you On your website, if somebody wanted to get help, where would we start? My electric conversion project?
Exactly. Well, you can start on the home page, and there is a form. Yeah, this is the form, and this is how you get in touch with us. So it's the orange with the orange background. If you scroll down, and we're gonna ask you just a few questions about your car, your, let's say, budget, if you have one, if you want to do it yourself, or if you need someone to do it for you. We call them the DIYers or the DIFMers, do it for meers. And what else? Few questions like this, and then we get in touch with you. We call you, or we send you a more precise questionnaire. The second step is answering really, it's a questionnaire of 50 something questions about the car, its condition, your expectation, and your constraints, budget, deadline. And with that, we ask you more question if there is more question to ask, or we call you, we have a meeting, you send us pictures, and all in all, in a few days, we can find someone to do it for you, or find the right components and kits.
Wow. Yeah. So I looked a little bit around on the store section of the site, and you have quite a collection of different motors. This Maverick motor here, this one was like 350 horsepower, I think, or 346 horsepower. Some of the motors are like 120 horsepower. It really jumps around quite a bit. Some of those older classic cars never were very fast. Probably the 120 horsepower motor is probably pretty appropriate. But when you start getting into some of the newer stuff, I'm assuming people want to make that switch and get the real, the real fun part of being electric with that horsepower and acceleration. Is that kind of what you see, or what do you usually get? What do people usually ask for?
So there is crazy people everywhere, like putting 1,000 horsepower in a Hummer H1, and we're okay with that. But most of the time, they want to keep the spirit of the car. So they want the same power, or just a little bit more. Actually, when you replace the gas engine with an electric engine of the same power, because it gives you full torque at 0 RPM, it feels like it's much more powerful because it's zippy. It gives you this kick. When you accelerate, it's very different and it's smooth. So even with the same amount of horsepower, you feel like it's more powerful. So most of the time, people want to keep the car as is. They don't want to replace all the suspension and all the everything. So they want the same power. But if you look at, we have 200, almost 200 components available on the store. But if you look at the systems and kits, we have only a few, because these vendors, they rather reply to a project knowing what it is than selling a kit to someone that really has no idea of what he's doing. So buying this kit, for instance, has never happened. We do connect the owner to the vendor, to this specific vendor, when we feel like it's the right kit for his project, his or her project. And so we're not pretending to sell this $58,000 kits on fuel to electric, we do make the connection between the customer and the vendor.
Well, I think that's
It's very
yeah.
It's we put a context on something. We help people understand that it's safe. The technology is available, but still, it's not something that everybody does today. It's gonna happen tomorrow, but just like any swap, again, nobody's buying any engine like this on internet or rare.
Well, no, the chance that you'd have a prefab kit that fits your needs exactly for $58,000, I think it's a nice order of magnitude. Like, hey, here's what you want, here's the different components, here's what it might cost. But if you're going to order it for your vehicle, I'd sure at that price point want a custom order, right? Give me exactly what I need to fit into an application.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have. There are two specific kits here. The one from Electric GT, the joint fuel to electric not a long time ago, and they're now Tremec. So it's Tremec Electric GT. They are one of the best system builders, and this one you can really buy it like this, plug and play. It's easy. There is no alteration to the chassis. So again, Dave, you talked about this, that the value of a Porsche just increase all the time compared to the Maserati, for instance. It was with this system, the Porsche keeps on gaining value because you are not changing the structure of the car. So you can go back to gas engine if you want at some point, but this system is perfect. And also there is another one. If you go back to the previous page, it's for the AC Cobra. It's called the Venom system, the red one, just below on the second line. And this one is really the easiest kit to install. I've seen it at SEMA. It took 20 minutes by the team of Scorpion EV, and it was driving gas. 20 minutes later, it was leaving without noise, silently. So it's really cool. So some kits are specific to cars, and we are seeing this also for shops, specializing, providing a kit for a specific car, or specializing in the EV conversion of a specific brand, model, year. This is what we feel it's the future, because shops, it takes a lot of time to do one-offs, and replicating is way more efficient for everybody. For the customer, it's gonna cost less. The car will spend less time in the shop, so it's a win-win for everybody. And we feel like it's where it's going.
Wow! So they did the whole EV conversion in 20 minutes. What kind of car was it that they converted?
AC Cobra.
Okay.
Yeah, really cool. So, and they have two conversion kits. This one is the 120 horsepower, so basic. Still, it's funny. It's very zippy. The AC Cobra is light, but they have also a 600 horsepower version of it. And this one, you need a helmet.
It's pretty crazy how fast you can get a car going, especially when it's been converted. Oh, this is kind of an interesting one. So convertibles tend to hold value too, and so this would be a good one. So this originally was only a 91 BMW 318i, was only 134 horsepower originally. So that's not requiring a real big upgrade to match or exceed the original performance.
Exactly. And again, Yeah, and this guy Bill, he wants to do it himself, and he's looking for a system that is close to plug and play. And I was discussing with a shop today, and they're gonna submit a quote for this conversion. It's gonna be less than $25,000 to convert it, and it's pretty cool. It's gonna give him probably 120 miles, so very good for him. This is exactly what he wants, and it's gonna be fun. I mean, convertibles are always fun, and they are not. You don't. It's really leisure car, like fun cars. It's not about driving fast. It's more for, I don't know, enjoying the ride, and it's really what EV conversion is. And if you want to drive it daily, you can too.
So what for 120 miles? What is that going to be? About a 20 kilowatt hour battery?
In this
Maybe 30?
case, in this
Somewhere
case,
between 20 and 30, I'd estimate. It's not a very
I
heavy
don't
car
remember
to
the
start with.
weight. Yeah, I don't remember the weight of the car here, but they're gonna come up with 5 or 6 Tesla modules, so
Okay.
repurposed batteries.
Yeah, so that's 25 to 30
Again,
because I saw your
Tesla
Tesla
is
modules were
Tesla is
like
the
5 each.
best.
Yeah, I saw on your
Yeah,
site that the Tesla
5.2.
modules were
So
about
it's gonna be, yeah,
5.2, 5.3 each. Okay. Yeah, so
yeah,
5 of
yeah.
them would be
So
25 kilowatt hours.
5 or 6 will be exactly. I don't remember exactly what the quote will be for this one. I remember the price range, but it's gonna have fun. I don't remember if there is a manual transmission or not. I think this one is automatic. So automatic, you have to remove it. So it's even better. I do like manual myself for our 66 Mustang. What we've done is that we use 2 motors attached in line. So we double the power. So we have 240 horsepower. And we replaced the automatic transmission with a manual transmission because I'm French and I like to drive stick, shift gears, and I do like the way it looks as well. When you look at the car from the exterior, but also from the interior, you don't see it's electric. And this is what I like also about EV conversion. If you want to go under the radar, you can. It's going to be silent, but nothing else will tell you. Well, that there's no exhaust pipe, but nothing else will tell you that it's electric. So it's pretty cool. Otherwise, you can have touch screen displays. You can have pads to select the different modes. It's pretty cool. There are many accessories, many components. You can do whatever you want. Basically, if you have the right idea in your head, we can help you design it, and we can find someone to implement it. That's the beauty of EV conversion. You have this car you love, and basically you want to do a heart surgery, and with all many options, so you can become I don't know, as fast as Usain Bolt, or you can, whatever idea you have, you can do it.
That's really cool. Love to see more of these. Let's see. So we've already gone about all of our time. So Laurent, I want to thank you for coming on today. This has been really an interesting and unique episode, and it'd be fun to see some more of these. That this would, some of these individual, cars getting broken down and going through the process. So that might be something I want to look at a little bit more as we go forward. Anyways, Mike, you got anything else? You
No,
good?
it's really cool. It's really cool to see, and just people that have put this together and seeing that this market exists out there, and it's not just DIYers or pet projects. People are really looking at these options moving forward. I think it's great to see this out there, and you guys kind of combining everything together and giving people a one-stop shop to ask questions and figure out what projects look like and how to move forward. So great stuff to see out there.
It was great. All right, Laurent, thanks again. Well, folks, thanks for watching today. And Laurent has help. Anyways, Mike will be back with me next week.